Alright, hello everybody. I'm building a hostel today, and it's based on a real-life warehouse that I saw when we were walking. My husband and I were going for a walk, and he said, hey, that would make a good hostel. So I decided to build it, and he is actually a special guest narrator in the speed build today. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
His name is Fabian. We actually met in a hostel, so we have lots of good hostel stories from when I was working one. And when I say hostel, I mean like a backpacking hostel, like a youth hostel, not a like a homeless shelter or a brothel or anything like that. It's like a youth hostel, like for backpackers.
A chill hostel.
Yeah, it was an old prison that was converted into a youth hostel. So when we saw this old warehouse, we were going for a walk, we thought that, well, Fabian said, oh, this would be a great hostel. So I was like, well, we can do it in The Sims because it's free. So here we are building it now. I'm just building out and feel free to chime in if you have any questions, but generally I just explain what I'm doing. So I'm going in, and this build has multi-levels, so you can see there's a foundation.
Yep. And
there is, on the inside of the building, the front is open to the entire, like to both stories, and then the back half is 2 stories. So it is split level all throughout, and it was kind of a pain. And you'll see the roof freezes, like the detail that goes around the outside. For some reason, the game was really glitching them out, so I had to go around and manually make all those little alcoves into separate rooms, and then remove the ceilings and delete the weird old freezes. So it actually took me forever, and I actually, if you remember when I was building this,
yeah.
I started to build a structure, and I got to this part, and then I had to start over again because for some reason the ceiling, the entire roof was glitched in that section.
Yeah, I remember.
And I couldn't add freezes without deleting that entire section of roof, and then you couldn't add it in again. So
but you managed to fix it.
Yeah, I did. Well, I fixed it by starting over completely from scratch, but I did take a screenshot to keep the layout. So here I am at doing that thing where I make all of these little separate rooms. You can see I'll like copy and paste the rooms below it. See, if I would delete a fence, and then the ceiling would pop in. So I just ended up copying and pasting the little rooms that worked. So I don't know why that worked. I don't see. And then when I have to go and delete all the rooms and add in the freezes, yeah. If you download this and you see any issues with freezes, I'm not fixing it. So now the doors and windows are going in.
I like the windows you picked for the hostel.
Yeah, they're a lot like the old jail hostel, which had kind of big factory windows in it. So
yeah, and big, and they let a lot of light through. Yeah,
for sure. And the new lighting engine that The Sims 3 uses means when we get to the screenshots, you'll see the lighting engine working full blast. Yeah, and I tried to add in as much garden as I could, but it's still in the middle of a city, like downtown. So
well, it's supposed to be an old factory, and they probably didn't have a lot of dirt space or gardening space.
Yeah. So I just added in like a tiny little bit of greenery around the outside, and then I'm having so much trouble putting that light in.
Remember you had trouble with the staircase too, then eventually space.
That was the same issue that caused me to have to just restart.
Yeah.
Alright, so now I've kind of built stuff out of order because I just needed to fit everything in. So I do throw items in, like I throw all these beds in, but then I actually come back and finish the bedrooms last because I just I only put the beds in there to get some spacing worked out. Also, sorry for sniffling.
Also, I like the floor you put in. It reminds me of those cheap clip-on floors hostels use because they're low budget.
Yeah, I think I changed almost all the flooring, but I keep that, like, I really liked that flooring, so I kept it downstairs, I think. Yeah. But then there was like the base flooring, I knew I wanted that in there, but I changed up in some of the rooms. Oh, I'm throwing in bathrooms here. The bathrooms are pretty, I mean, I say small, but comparatively, it's a huge building. They're not that small.
Yeah.
There's, I think there's space for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Sims, technically. And there are 4 toilets and 4 showers. So, if you wanted to add in extras, well, be my guest. But I figured not everyone would be using it at the same time, so. And most people can only have 8 Sims in a game, so unless you use, like, unlocks, then you can't use them. Also, the bathrooms really start off kind of dreary, but then I use spa day stuff to make it kind of brighter. So you see I added like bright, like backlit mirrors. And I'm just mirroring on the other side. I do almost everything in the bathrooms are identical, except for some posters that I put in the toilet stalls and some plants, I think. Fabian is just watching. He's not really, he's just getting hypnotized by the speed build.
Actually do, yes.
And so we watch a lot of speed builds together, and we watch a lot of City Skylines together, and it's like a pastime of ours to get hypnotized by building videos.
I like the shelving you use. It looks, you know, it reminds me of those IKEA shelves, also hostels and like cheap backpack communities use, because they're low budget and they have to.
I use like
nice,
a mixture of.
cheap.
I tried to get a mixture of stuff that looked secondhand and stuff that looked like it was from IKEA. So, like the stuff that I have in here, it either is from IKEA or it's secondhand. Besides, like the big factory windows, and I imagine that these, like this, was, you know, the offices of the factory owners who would like look down on the factory floor and stuff, and that's what's been converted into the bedrooms. Oh, sorry for sniffling. It's so gross. Now I'm gonna make a mistake soon, and I didn't notice this mistake until I had already uploaded the build. So, do you see it? Oh, look at that! I didn't change one side, but you know what? Maybe it's.
Well, maybe when they bought it, they only had one white and one black left, and they.
Yeah, exactly. My intention.
We need 2 planters. We need 2 white ones, or there's only one white one left. Everything else is black.
Yeah, so that wasn't necessarily my intention, but yeah, we'll go with that. I kind of was hoping that it would look like one big one, but maybe they ran out of black paint or something.
Also, I like the lot you used.
Yeah, so it's in, I don't know if you've played the city expansion pack of the game, but there's a city called San Myshuno, and there's all these different districts, and the district word is called the Spice Market, and it has some of like the more artsy and affordable buildings, and there's an old warehouse, an actual house next to this, that sort of has a repurposed industrial vibe too.
Remember the size of the building or the lot itself? Building, how many squares it has?
I don't remember offhand, but it will be in the description. Like the link to the gallery will be down on the in the description below, so people will be able to see it. Here, I'm trying to build the lobby, and I really wanted to have functional computers there facing in, but because I used countertops, it didn't work. So I ended up using these little TVs, and I kind of pretended that they were computers. I mean, people aren't. Until they have some type of hotel expansion, it doesn't matter anyway. And then adding some klimbim. And adding more stuff on the other side. I think I put one of those little fat chefs back for some reason on that side. Later on, this build, a lot of times I would come across some type of little clutter, and then I would totally abandon the room that I was working on and go back to, for example, the lobby and add something in. So it was kind of all over the place. The muse had a hold of me. I couldn't control it.
So like the staircase you picked, the old factory metal stairs from the 30s and 40s?
Yeah, so I think that that came with the... Technically, I think it came with like the prison, the police station stuff. I can't remember, but I think it came with the police station stuff, and it was supposed to be like for a prison.
Or more like what I tried to say is, yeah, even with the windows, the brick, the floor, more or less, the staircase, you kind of picked one design and stick with it.
Yeah.
Like this factory is from one area, and I want to make sure that the windows, the staircase, everything, the door matches with the area it came from.
Yeah, exactly. And in my imagination, I kind of imagined that this was maybe like a textile factory or something like that, with lots of sewers or something, because it's not huge. Like, you couldn't have a ton of machines in here.
Maybe something very odd, like a factory or something. Like something very strange, a factory or a test center.
Oh geez. Well, I'm gonna have to buzz that. I'm gonna have to block that out, or else we're not gonna get monetized. We're not gonna get advertising.
Okay.
But anyway, I was thinking more like dial paint. Like, remember the old radium? They would, like, the girls would paint the dials of the watches with radium.
Yes.
I was kind of imagining that type of thing. Or like sewing, like a garment factory or something like that.
The old Jumanji Shoe Factory.
Yeah, the old Jumanji. It does kind of, yeah, it has an old Jumanji Shoe Factory vibe. And so I'm just finishing up the kitchen here, and I didn't know what, I mean, so huge. I didn't know what lights to put in, and I spent forever trying to line up these, and then I just sort of said to hell with it later on. And I was just like, yeah. Good enough. There's so many lights that should be way more functional in The Sims, and they just aren't. It drives me crazy. I guess I could use some type of custom content, but I have a little custom content for my Sims. Like, I think I have 2 or 3 hairstyles for toddlers, and some mods that make things less frustrating. But besides that, I decided, instead of downloading a million things, I was just going to get the packs when they come on sale and just leave it at that and just use what comes in the packs. Yeah. Because then I don't need to worry about updating things or stuff like wrecking my game. And in The Sims 3, I kind of felt like The Sims 4 is so well, like, the design is so good that I tried to add spice racks here, but then I realized that they don't attach, so I got rid of them. But I feel like The Sims 4 is so well designed. It's basically like an interior design game. So that's how I kind of play it. And I don't really download stuff for The Sims 4 because I don't think it needs it. Whereas The Sims 3 had all the depth, but it looked pretty hideous sometimes. There was lots of custom content, and people really made it a pretty game, especially with like lighting fixes and stuff like that. But yeah, when I try and go back and play that without custom content, it's hideous. Alright, just adding in some details in the kitchen. And then I wanted to have like a big communal dining area. That was something that I really liked whenever we go to hostels. Yes. I mean, now that we're like old married people, we always get private rooms. We never stay in dorms, but I still love all the communal living aspects. So we're about halfway through here, and I'm about ready to start adding in the lounge. But I added in like these kind of crappy computers.
Or like bought from a yard sale.
Yeah, or just like they used to be for the lobby, and then when they upgraded, they put them there, or they just got them on sale, at a Best Buy sale or something. And then I did try to make it a little cozier in the front hallway, so I added all the shrubberies on the outside windows, and then in each alcove I added a mirror, one of those recessed lighting things, like the little rectangle lights, and the shrubberies. So I think it did make it a little cozier. I think that from my time working at a hostel, we used plants to make it look a lot nicer than it probably was.
I do remember, yeah.
It's like cheap. Plants are cheap and easy to take care of. Oh, look, there's the fat chef.
You worked at a Victorian-aged old jail hostel.
Yeah.
So it was not built to look pleasant inside.
Yeah, and so we just kind of had to use, just like this building, there's a lot of bright colors and foliage and stuff that, oh, sorry, it's so gross, that tries to make it seem a lot friendlier than it is. So now I'm adding in the lounge area. I wanted to have a performance space. I hadn't used, with the city expansion pack, there was some type of performance item that I'm trying to fit in there. But then I realized it's not really, it's more of like a professional item, like for people who are busking on the streets.
Yeah.
Whereas in hostels, most of the time it's just they have instruments to play if anyone wants to. So I changed it up a little bit, and I think it looks a lot better. But I did still add in a stereo. I thought about throwing in a DJ booth, but it's not a club, it's a hostel. And then I redid that so it was less fancy.
Well, you did a great job there.
Thank you. Very encouraging. I like it. We'll add in a Marilyn Monroe. That's totally something that like hostel people would add in.
Yes.
Like workers. You have to remember the people who work at a hostel, most people I know who worked at hostels, it's like not the best job. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to do it. But if you stick around, it's because you're having a great time. And a lot of times people who work there
Very outgoing.
Outgoing, or they just kind of want to have a working vacation. So they may be working at the hospital only for like one summer or something like that. And they may be from, like somewhere else, and they bring all their kind of design ideas. Like this sort of, I feel like the lounge has a very, not Bavarian, but almost like a Czech coffee house type thing. Like it reminds me a lot of, like kind of like the eclectic coffee houses in Prague.
Yeah.
And here in Toronto, there's a tea house that I think is really inspired by like Czech tea houses. It's called the Bampot Tea House. If you Google it, you'll see what I mean. But that was definitely, I'm going there tomorrow night, but that was definitely an inspiration of that little lounge area. And also, I've never seen that evil cat in The Sims 4 in my whole life. I've never seen it, and
I like it. Gives it the, people find like a yard sale, or someone threw it out and said for free on the sidewalk, and they picked it up and brought it back to work.
Yeah, for sure. Like, or someone found it at like a thrift store.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the stuff here, besides like you can see like there's old chairs and old furniture, but then the folding chairs look very either IKEA, like cheap IKEA, or like cheap folding chairs from the hardware store.
Yes.
So like the table, you can even see that coffee table there is all, banged up from years of use. Now the kitchen is pretty clean and modern and industrial, but I think I can't imagine, like when I went to a hostel, our kitchen had to be up to standards and codes, so I imagine this one would be too, in San Myshuno.
I guess it depends on which country you're in.
Yeah.
I think Canada, US, and most European have strict health safety rules.
I think San Myshuno was supposed to be kind of a mix of like San Francisco and
Yeah.
I mean, there's every different neighborhood has a different kind of look to it. Here I am adding in the dorms. I wish there was bunk beds, but there are no bunk beds. I know that I could have done some creative maneuvering to make it look like bunk beds, but I'd rather this lot be as functional as possible. It'd be great if they had a...
Well, it looks more cozy without bunk beds. It's like maybe like a hostel for, there's not this much tourism here, but there's enough here for like, 10 people.
Yeah.
Like space for 10 people. And
yeah, and I mean, I wish that there was a travel expansion pack or like a hotel.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, especially if you can make custom hotels.
Yes.
Like for apartments, for the city expansion pack, I was so excited to build custom apartments.
Yeah.
And I built a trailer park that I wanted to turn into like apartments. But then you can't edit, like you can't make your own apartment. You can edit existing ones, like you can go in and change the wallpaper and stuff and add a new furniture, but you can't actually build your own apartment building, which kind of bummed me out. So it was just basically like a house.
Yeah.
So for people like me who enjoy building maybe a little bit more than they enjoy playing, it kind of bummed me out. Those lockers, I thought that you can change into a towel. They're from the spa expansion pack. You can change into a towel or like a bathrobe or something. And I figured you could like wear your towel and go have your shower and then wear your towel back up to your room.
Yes. I did that.
Yeah. Thinking about it now, I should have maybe put the bathrooms up where these private rooms are and put the private rooms on the bottom floor. But, I think those would have been offices and wouldn't have like plumbing in them. Like those, I can't imagine the garment factory.
Well, it's all hypothetical we speak of. It's
yeah. So if people want to switch the bedrooms and the bathrooms, I don't care. If you want to have the bathrooms right next to the rooms, go for it. But I didn't see it being realistic. So the rooms are pretty much identical, just with same items but different styles. And then in my hostel that I worked at, we had all these little nooks that were just quirks of architecture, but we turned them all into like little reading areas. So there was a chair in every single one, and people would just kind of need a little quiet time away from the dorm, away from the lobby, and they would just kind of like go hide in one of these little alcoves and read or like go on their phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I did there. And then you can see there, like I just made a chair. Instead of having like another end table, I just threw like a chair in there because it just seems so hostily. And then I'm putting movie posters, like dorky movie posters there as decoration because those are cheap and totally in the hostel worker design book.
I know also through all the hostels we went, they always have a ton of books there because people just buy them and leave them there.
Yeah, and board games and stuff.
Board games, there's always a lot of books and board games available.
Now, in The Sims 4, there's like a card table where you can play cards. There's I think there's a pool table, and there's a like a billiard type table.
Yeah.
No, not billiards. That's a pool table. What am I thinking of? Like where you can have a little football guys.
Foosball table?
Yeah, foosball table. But I didn't end up using it. Oh, and then I noticed that one table was leaking through the outside, so I had to get rid of that. But then I ended up thinking it looked better to just add one little table onto the end, like a mismatched table. I thought it looked really cute to add onto the end. And like I was trying to find one that matched, and then actually I think it looked better to have one that mismatched because you can just imagine, like a bunch of people were sitting here and they just brought that over from the lounge area.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like they have just a small kitchen or dining area, and when all of a sudden there's a full house, they add a small table.
Yeah, it's easy, and one thing that people could do with this build, if they wanted to, they could totally throw in a basement. I didn't put in a basement, but they could totally throw in like an old boiler room that was like storage, or more bathrooms, or a games room, or like a little underground club.
Laundry.
Yeah, laundry. If there's like a ecological pack that is crowd designed, like all the fans are doing polls to design it. If they end up having laundry in that pack, maybe I'll add in a laundry room.
Can I match something what I would like to have seen here?
In The Sims 4 or in
just
this build?
this building with a little garden gnome in the front.
Yeah, they have a million different types of garden gnomes.
Because you find garden gnomes in every like garage sale.
Yeah. Well, I could go back in and add one in.
Well, it's a little thing. People can put it in themselves, but I just...
In The Sims 4, as you play, sometimes different gnomes just appear.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I think that's the case. In The Sims 3, like if you had a really high relationship with your pet,
yes.
Like if it was a dog, there'd be a dog garden gnome.
Oh.
So on this wall, I was trying to find something like a big decoration that was kind of cheap looking, but I couldn't find one. And then I decided to make almost like a mural of old neon signs, because those are definitely, like, you see them at like thrift stores and stuff.
Yeah.
See them like all the failed businesses trying to get rid of them. So I made like a little neon sign, like a messy neon sign mural. Oh, and then I end up using this sign as the hostel. It looks a little bit more...
Hostel-y?
Yeah, it looks like... because a lot of hostels, that while they're independently run, they're part of like a larger network. So they would have like the traditional hostel sign for like Hostel International or something.
Yep.
Alright, so we're coming up to the end now. I'm just adding in some bits and bobs around. So I added in garbage. I'm extending this a little bit, and then adding in a barbecue. If you notice, there's a little piece of fence that I didn't move there. I believe I deleted it before I shared it to the gallery. So if you download it from the gallery, it won't be there. It shouldn't be there. If it is, just delete it. I love that little courtyard so much. So cute.
I really like it. It looks pretty adorable.
Yeah, well, we're going to be going into the screenshots soon, and you can see all the finished business. Should be starting soon. So there's the view from the front. And I added in off camera some little details like the bench and the garbage and the sign, just to make, like, you see the sign on the end there, just to make it look like more of a public street. And you know what? It could have gone up a third story, to be honest. It looked pretty cool. So here's looking in at the lobby, and here's looking down at the lobby with a huge wide angle. I really like that lobby, imagining it to be like the factory floor. And from the lobby, I think we move into the lounge with the instrument. So yeah, there's the lounge.
Looks cool. It's cool.
Yeah, there's the coffee machine. People could actually, in this game, they could use it as a public lot. They couldn't stay here, but they could use it as a public lot.
Yeah.
Or they could turn it into like a little restaurant or something. Here's the kitchen. Two stoves.
I really like the
steaks.
kitchen a lot.
2 steaks, not steaks. My nose is so stuffed up, I call it steaks. I really love the dining area. And there's the backyard with the little tea house symbol on it.
To be honest with you, it looks amazing what you have created.
Oh, thank you.
It's everything, like, it's well picked together. The windows, the floor, the decoration, the coloring. It's all well picked to make it look like, oh, it's an old building. Do you want to preserve the old building house, or to make it look new and attractive for young people to stay?
Yeah, and it would be young people decorating it too.
Yes.
You know, like with stuff that they find.
And people with at the hostel, and the people who buying it won't have a great budget. They have to like find a way to make it good looking and like on a low budget.
Yeah, so like even in the private rooms, the beds are futons.
Yeah.
You know, like the drapes are like old drapes. Okay, here's the bathroom, and I think we have some overhead shots. So you can see the bottom floor, and then you're going to see the top floor, and that's it. So thank you for narrating with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for the idea.
Bye.
You can grab this build from the gallery. The link is in the description down below. And thank you so much for putting up with my nasally voice again. You know, the past few videos I've been really nasally and gross, so I apologize. I hope this build makes up for it. Have a great day.